Hello. Welcome to an exciting panel. Hope everyone is having a good time. It's 9 a.m. We have an exciting topic today. We are going to talk about vibe coding and AI. How does it affect businesses, consumers, web hosting companies, and website providers? It's not a secret that AI is changing the world, is giving people a lot of opportunities, is allowing people who've never coded before to try ideas, try build applications, and give the idea, make it into a reality. So today we have Arto from 10Web. I know 10Web is investing a lot in AI with exciting products. Arto, do you want to talk about the company and how do you invest in vibe coding and AI?
Of course. So we started as a managed hosting company in 2017 for WordPress. And then we introduced AI website builder in 2021 before ChatGPT. Frankly, it was not working for obvious reasons. The technology was not there yet. And recently, we introduced a product called Vibe Coding for WordPress. So idea there is to basically marry the most powerful content management system, WordPress, with AI, and allow end users generate any front end for WordPress using vibe coding solution. So it's kind of like a lovable plus WordPress solution. It's like, it has been 3 weeks, and we already have a couple of thousand websites live with the solution. And the beauty of this, that you really don't need to understand and know like coding for building a beautiful website. If you want to build something more advanced, you need, of course, like plugins, some solutions, and so on. But for basic use cases, if you want, I don't know, 10, 15-page beautiful website, you can do it just chatting with AI. And it's kind of like a very exciting thing for a lot of people. So it's, I think, a new democratization level for website building industry.
Great, thank you. TJ, yesterday you showed us Nova, an exciting product from WebPros. Tell us a little bit about it. How did you guys come up with this idea? How does it affect WebPros, and what does it mean for you and the company?
Yeah, so Nova is similar to what 10Web is in terms of vibe coding, but with the intent of creating a dynamic application. And really, we see this as a space that's kind of really coming to the industry, coming to what people want to create online now that they're enabled to do so. So we started seeing very early this year, we'll say signals on both vibe coding within our own company starting to take off, as well as companies like Lovable and others doing it online. And we knew we needed a product that would help fit that gap for our partners in the hosting industry. And so that's what Nova was built for.
Cool, thank you. Carlos, tell us a little bit about how name.com is utilizing vibe coding and AI in general.
Yeah, so we noticed that builders were coming from all different places, and the barrier to entry to build just lowered. And as a registrar, we enable people to build, get online, work with companies like these guys to help kind of that last mile deployment solution with domains. So a year ago when we saw this happening, we noticed that we were going to have to be a big player in how we get customers to launch with vibe coding platforms on a custom domain. So we work with companies like Vercel, V0, Netlify, Replit, Bolt, to make sure that their customers can launch on a custom domain, and that's how we've been involved in this space.
Interesting. So from the hosting.com's perspective, we've seen a rise of customers wanting to host websites like Node.js applications and Python applications. So there is a big demand nowadays for that, which is a proof of there's a lot of people testing applications, testing vibe coding, testing agentic AI, and trying to build apps, which is an interesting development. Which brings me to my next question. How does that impact your businesses? Arto, like, I'm sure you've seen growth through the AI products, but what does it mean for 10Web?
I think there are two things with AI. One, how you bring it to your final product for your customers, and the other one, how you use it internally to automate things, how you make your people, I don't know, 10 times productive in the next 5 years. And we're also investing a lot into internal tools, into automations, trying to bring AI everywhere, like where it's possible, and automate all the work processes. We implemented in our customer support, obviously engineering with Cursor and Cloud Code and other things. We automated like also a lot of outreach things in sales and so on. So I think agentic AI is coming, and in next 5-10 years, most of the knowledge work basically would be automated, fortunately or unfortunately. And the companies who bring first into their internal processes would have a much, much higher advantage over those who just like are more inert.
I think it's a good time to explain what is the difference between vibe coding and agentic AI, right? I had a chat with TJ earlier before the panel, and we talked about it. I think, TJ, do you want to give us your perspective? Because in plain words, we could say that vibe coding is human talks to the AI, and together they create something, right? Whereas agentic AI is 100% experience inside the LLM.
Yeah, so some can say that the interaction during vibe coding potentially is agentic, but if you wanted to draw a very clear comparison or a division, agentic is going to do things kind of that are set before it in terms of responsibilities, but in response to actions coming on. So it's more of the automation, whereas vibe coding is a very much paired experience where a human's coming in to drive the creation of something. Agentic can do things like respond to support tickets or pull in data across all your servers and give you insights on a recurring basis, or maybe on a trigger type basis. Maybe if it detects certain things within your fleet, it can actually notify you ahead of time. And so agentic is really that. It's a service you can start and kind of give it guidelines, and then it can fulfill those for you, kind of in a more hands-off approach, whereas vibe coding is that experience that you're doing together with AI.
Carlos, name.com. What does it mean for name.com? What is the business impact? Have you seen customers trying different domain names? Like, are you making suggestions through AI on the cart experience?
Yeah, so I mean, at the highest level, more people building means more domains. And also, fortunately, with AI, it depends on what they're building, but there's a lot of TLDs that fit certain applications a lot better. So I think all of us on the stage have seen tremendous growth in .ai, and a lot of the early builders maybe were building something more technical, so you might have seen growth in .io, .dev, .app. There's just a lot of growth in the industry in general. So starting there, but kind of going off of TJ's, what TJ was saying as well, is internal applications versus external applications are quite different, but everyone's building more. So internally, what it means for name.com, we have product people who might look like designers. We have designers who might look like coders, and we might have coders who look like designers and product people. And I think what I love about vibe coding specifically and agentic AI is it's blurred the lines, and you have people who are really stepping up and coming into maybe their own, where it's like they can contribute as a designer and a developer and a product person. And while that's internal, I see some parallels externally where our customers are also capable of doing that. And where we have a lot of small and medium business owners at name.com who might be what we call solopreneurs, they can do all of the things to build and run their business by using one of these tools, and they've 3x'd, 5x'd their power. So with those walls coming down, with their leverage going 3 or 4x, we're trying to meet them where they are to kind of enable their wildest dreams. And I think vibe coding, for me, is one of the most exciting technologies to be able to do that.
Absolutely, and it's also super exciting for me. You know, I've never been a developer in my life, and I found a lot of use cases with vibe coding and AI. I can try different things. I can help my teams automate stuff for them. I can make their lives easier. So it's definitely exciting times ahead. And as you said, we see people who have never tried, like a lot of people have a lot of ideas, and they were never able to make those ideas a reality, and AI is enabling them to at least come up with an MVP, which is something, right? Which is super exciting. Which again brings us to the next topic, prototypes versus production. It's not a secret that vibe coding and agentic AI is great. It works. It can write code. It can help you write code. But the difference between prototype and production is very far away from each other, both from a scaling perspective, security perspective. So it's a whole new world on how do you push code from prototype to production. Arto, tell us your thoughts about that.
I think it depends on use case. If you are building something simple, you can build a great stuff, I know, with Nova or TimeWeb or Lovable in a couple of days and go live. But if you want to build something more advanced, of course you need to have production level code. You need to have reusability of the code. You need to support all the security standards and so on. So in essence, LLMs are statistical models, and they still have, I know, 0.001% error rate. So when you add up hours of code generation, the error level gets to, 1%, 2%, 10%. So with the scaling of the production code or your product code, the error rate also goes high, which means you can go live and have a production level code base just with the vibe coding. You still need top level, high level developers to have a look at the code, do the proper QA and so on. But on the other hand, it also helps developers to write code much, much faster. So in one of my companies, we started the company in January, and just team of 2 backend developers has been able to build, 5 different microservices with tens of thousands lines of codes just in a couple of months. 5 years ago, we will need, 10 developers and 2 years for that. So I think we see developers superpowered with AI, and right now it's much more obvious use case when just regular users building big applications by themselves.
Am I allowed to ask how much is your teams using actively AI to write code? And if they do, how do you, as ultimately the responsible person for that code, right, feel comfortable pushing that code to production?
Of course, I think 95% of our code base now is written with AI, but we still have all the processes in place. We have the automated QA, manual QA, code reviews, all the stuff, all the security standards, and so on. So the code that is written with AI still gets through manual review before it's getting pushed to production. 95% is actually not written by hands, but generated with AI.
That's amazing. So we, from a hosting.com perspective, we also write a little bit of AI code, and our security teams are very unhappy with that fact. So we have to make sure that the code is triple, quadruple checked and goes through all sorts of kinds of tests before it gets pushed into production. I don't even know if we have any actual AI code into production today.
But on the other hand, it opens up a new work for security teams, so they should be happy. I mean, before AI, it was only humans writing code, and now they have a new front for fighting with the developers, right?
Interesting. Thank you, Arto. TJ, how is WebPros embracing vibe coding into production?
So yeah, more of what I like to call co-pilot coding. It's really within a lot of our products, we have monolithic code bases, things that have been around for 20 years that we've been continuing to work on through this time. And it's really accelerated our ability to, one, onboard new developers because they can easily get a deeper understanding of how things work and also help them through the flows. But then I would say our experts, our SMEs that have been working on the code bases for the longest time are even seeing the most benefit. And as Arto mentioned, there's always a human in the loop AI is going to help us create new code or maybe optimize code, but before it gets through all the quality checks, there's a human sign-off. Just like you would if you were vibe coding an app or a website. You're not going to just type in your idea and then put it into production. The same works for product code as well. And then from the prototyping side, I'll also want to mention, it's anyone with an idea can bring that and now visually show it and get everyone in a room aligned. We were actually on one of our product demo calls a couple weeks ago, and with the leadership team, we could kind of feel like something here wasn't quite right in how this interface was implemented. And we had our product manager actually on the call, was taking notes, and he just put them into Nova actually at the time and generated a new visual of what that could look like, and we all aligned on that call. In the past, that would take a week or two of sending it back to design, getting the wireframes recreated and everything else. But that's the kind of acceleration, even if you're going to throw the prototype away, that you get those decisions made really quickly.
Thank you. Carlos, name.com, vibe coding, are you embracing it? If yes, how and why?
If not, we're doing something wrong. No. We definitely have embraced it, and when I hear people say 95% of their code is AI or written by AI,
that is amazing, by the way.
Which is amazing. Our team's probably trying to approach that number, but there's a big difference between tabbing autocomplete on cursor, which is AI too, and then not being an expert and just vibing your way, which is literally why it's called vibe. So internally, always have experts reviewing the code, being part of the process, person in the middle between AI and any security concerns. But it brings up a great point where if you're a solopreneur and don't have that expertise, how do you deal with the security of your application? When it's a really simple, safe micro app, I was telling these guys that a year ago when this first came out, I never used my standing desk, and I just vibe coded an app that reminds me to stand when it sees I'm not standing and sends me an email. I've now sent all those emails to my spam folder, but I was trying to stand more, and there's no issue with security there. But we have customers who want to build an application and start a store, and they're accepting credit card information. Well, now the security, we have very different relationship between a customer and myself wanting to stand, and that's where we're not building the vibe coding platforms, but a lot of the platforms out there specialize in their niche to say, we know we're bringing in customers who aren't developers. We maybe will make more of a walled garden where we have a Stripe integration, we have a Shopify integration, and we know this will work. So you see companies like Lovable and Base44 taking that approach, where some others like V0, Replit, and others let their agent kind of explore the internet a bit more. And I think right now it's going to require customers to be a little bit more careful with, am I choosing the right platform? Is it for the needs? Am I prototyping? Am I putting out something to production? So yeah, it's exciting, but at the same time, a little bit scary.
So if I may, actually, I really love the example of the standing desk app, because that's really, if you're a hosting provider, you're wanting to provide some type of vibe coding solution, I think that's a market to consider, because these are things that would take hours or days for someone even technical to do.
Or never.
Or never, yes. And so those small world problems like that can now be something that's actually a solution. Like, maybe you don't even want to go sign up for a QR code generator, so you just make one in a service you already have. That's something I've done. And I think that's just a whole new way to think about how this can enter the market and solve those types of problems. It's not always the big things, like a full website or a CRM or some type of SaaS platform. It can be, but it's also those simple solutions that have bothered you for 10 years now that you can just vibe code and fix.
Yeah, so from my experience, so hosting.com, we do about 100,000 live chats a month. So one day I was sitting home, I'm like, I need to know what's happening with those live chats, right? I need to know what my guys are talking about and what do the customers need. So how do you evaluate 100,000 live chats in a month? It's impossible, right? You need to have a huge team of people reading every single live chat that happens. So I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to vibe code a prototype. So I used one of the LLMs, I vibe coded a platform, I made a prototype, proof of concept, works, right? Okay. So I went to my security guys, I'm like, can you have a look? And they're like, it's not good. Okay, so prototype number one, ditched. Then I get a second prototype, right? More strict, more security, better coding practices, detailed prompts. Prototype 2 is ready, works. I go to the security guys, like, what do you guys think? It's not good. So I guess the question is, if I am a person who uses LLMs and I create some kind of software, what do I need to do to make sure that I have what it takes for the prototype to become production? And I guess Carlos has the most experience here, or maybe Arto does, but I don't know if Carlos, what do you think?
Well, I was going to make another joke of saying, like, find an engineer who can do the review for you. Yeah, I think it really depends, and not to keep saying, oh, it depends on what you're building, but internal applications, the value of being at an enterprise with developers who can kind of help you along the way is having kind of that double check. A lot of times, I was on a call yesterday even where vibe coding right now is used more for demo purposes and getting the point across. And I think there's a beauty to how quickly you can communicate an idea, and the leverage and the speed comes just from doing that. So we went on a call, one of our engineers built a back-end demo, pinged the designer vibe coded a front end, they connected them, and we presented it to a potential customer, and that was done in a day. And we would have just gone to this customer call with some slides and API docs, and it just kind of like falls a bit flat. Versus getting something all the way to production, we're figuring that out. It's something that I've challenged the team of, like, I want to leave 2026 and be able to give marketing a vibe coding tool, and they can build a landing page and deploy it, and you have someone review the code, but just, hit deploy. But I think we're still a little bit, at least at name.com, we have some steps to take to make sure security is in place and all of those things. The one thing I'll add to end my statement is we're at the worst it'll ever be now. And I think a lot of people give vibe coding a hard time, AI code a hard time, but a year ago, we weren't even talking about this here. The last CloudFest in Europe, I might have been one of two people presenting on vibe coding there, and now, it's everywhere. So I think with more people, with more eyeballs, with more developers, it will continue to get more secure. But today is the worst it'll ever be, and then tomorrow it'll be the worst it'll ever be, and it'll continue to improve.
Here's an idea. Maybe CloudFest Europe next year, we can do you and I, a vibe coding demonstration to people.
Yeah, we can live build an app.
Why not? That would be exciting, right?
So one concept we're actually trying internally is a build-a-thon, which is like a hackathon, but it's for non-technical people to bring their ideas to life. That would be fun to do at CloudFest too.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Like another big idea or use case for vibe coding is for entrepreneurship. So before, if you have an idea, you need to raise like a pre-seed round, couple of $100,000 to build a prototype, to get traction, and then go to VCs and raise like a big rounds. But today you can build by yourself, spend like 10 days and a month, launch an app or an app store or just like an online store, see is there like a traction, even if it's not secure, if it's not perfect and so on. If there's a traction, the fundraising becomes much, much easier. So I saw like a lot of people doing that in different industries, which is also very exciting.
Carlos, you said that this is the worst that it will ever be, which I agree, and it's a great statement. So if I am a hosting business or a domain business, what is the future for me in the next couple of years, and how do you think the AI and the vibe coding and the agentic experience, the whole experience, is going to evolve so that then I don't stay behind and I keep on with the trend and utilizing the tools?
Yeah, I think for every company here, the answer is slightly different, but more people who have never built are going to want to build. and what your role in that build lifecycle is going to be important to make sure that you're embracing AI and embracing the more modern tools to being able to do that. On the domain side, as an example, I've been using, I probably stole it from Uber or some other company of like the last mile. And for us, that last mile in deployment is domains. And we want to make sure we as a company, no matter if our customers want to use Nova, 10Web, Replit, Vercel, we want to make sure we're there to help them with solving all of their domains needs in that last mile. Getting the right domain, getting the right TLD at the right price without having to deal with the headache of DNS or any of those things. So I think for the domainers in the space, it's going to be important to meet customers where they are and make sure that you provide the easiest solution ever. One thing I love about where the industry has gone with AI, with agentic AI and vibe coding, is everything is in the service of simplifying a workflow for a customer. What used to be a multi-step onboarding process for a website builder, or picking a website builder and then starting with a template to then delete half the template to then rebuild the template. It's now I just say, I want a landing page that does this, this, and this. I don't need to worry about a settings menu and where I go and do all of these things. And similarly on the domain side, we need to push ourselves to be able to do that as simple. I want a domain with these keywords for this kind of business and hook it up to my site, hook it up to my email. So meeting customers where they are at, making it as easy as humanly possible, because I think my willingness to interact with an AI chatbot, it's like a year ago I was willing to do 10 prompts. Now I'm like, you didn't get it on the first time. And I think more and more that's going to be happening, and we kind of have to push ourselves to make sure that whatever part of the process we're in, we kind of also strive to do that in one shot, in two shots, or anything.
Do you think we will ever witness AI being so advanced where a single prompt can create a whole complicated solution application?
Short answer is yes. Longer answer is probably more complicated, but I think you see some platforms. I know Replit, top of mind right now, which you can kick off a long 20-minute process. Today, I kick it off and I come back 20 minutes later, and if it's built the wrong thing, the pain is so high. So I think there will be some learning curve to saying, if I'm going to have an agent work for 20 minutes, it better get it perfect, because I actually like right now, there's all these things that we didn't talk about of context windows and smaller prompts and attacking vibe coding one feature at a time that works really well today. And I think the industry will catch up and the LLMs will get better at that, but they will have to figure out how to go off for 20 minutes and do it correctly, or 10 minutes. But right now, with the context windows and building one feature at a time, I've found that to be the best way to approach it.
Arto, what is the future for 10Web? And as LLMs keep on improving and you guys utilize them a lot, and both for, I guess, your 95% coding and also for your customers, what is the future for 10Web then as LLMs keep on improving?
I mean, obviously, our product will get better and better. And eventually, I can see it, I don't know, in 12 months, 24 months, a product where 90% of all the websites basically could be created with AI. Like for that next 10%, I'm not that optimistic as Carlos. I think it would take another 10 years, 20 years before we get there, that users will be able to build like an advanced web app just using AI. LLMs are still lacking a lot of things in order to build complex stuff. But for 10Web, I'm more excited about our new distribution. So we historically used to be a consumer platform, and now we are changing to be like a B2B platform, where we provide all our services through API for different solutions to hosting providers, domain providers, MSPs, and other players in the industry, basically to get to the place where the customer lives and customer belongs to. And I think with this approach, TimeWeb basically can bring the best of our solutions to the hands of the customers.
Thank you. TJ, Nova is an exciting product. Combines WordPress, combines LLM, combines visuals, site creation. What is the future for Nova and Web Pros? And in addition to that, obviously, I have a lot of friends who come to me and ask me, oh, I am a designer. Is my job going to be obsolete in a few years? What do you think?
The thing I think I like most about AI is it actually humanizes our experience with technology. And so with Nova, right, we want to see that as an entry point for creation across all of our platforms. We're looking at other things that it can create too, things like dashboards, maybe even agentic experiences that get you started that then you can use in your day-to-day. And for web pros, we've got some very large and established products that have lots of APIs, lots of functionality, and lots of data, of course, stored on them, even non-personal stuff, just how it's configured. And we've always, over the years, had questions from our customers on how can we automate this more, or how can we conduct more functionality and bulk actions. And AI is going to enable that. We're just wanting to be very responsible about it first, where we're making sure we're not putting in any situation where your fleet could be at risk. But it's going to be something that can help accommodate both the expert user of our products as well as someone getting onboarded for the first time, because it can personalize that experience for what you need to do in that moment. And so the products can become really the thing in the background, and your experience with how you interact with that through AI is going to be that more human approach, as if you were almost talking to somebody as part of your business today.
Thank you. So we only have a couple of minutes left to this session. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. This has been very interesting and a lot of exciting things to talk about. Obviously, AI itself is a huge topic, and we can sit here and talk about for hours and hours. I want to close down this session with a quote from someone who's much smarter than I am. And that person said, there is this hype of, is my job going to be gone because of AI, and is AI going to change the world? And the quote says, AI is not going to take your job. It's only going to take the job of people who don't use AI. So let's embrace AI. Let's start using it. It's only going to be for good, and the future is wild and exciting. Thank you very much for joining us today.